Hi, welcome back to You Fantasy Football. Today's topic is fantasy football for the complete new person to fantasy football. I mean, this is like if you don't even know what football is. If you have no clue on what's going on, but you want to play fantasy football, this is your video. Okay, so in football, you have a quarterback, a running back, a wide receiver, tight end, and linemen on offense, and a kicker if you're kicking a field goal or an extra point. These are the basic positions, and this is the positions that will translate all except for offensive line. These are the positions that will translate into fantasy football. So okay, the quarterback. The quarterback is the guy who actually throws the ball. He's Tom Brady, uh, Peyton Manning, Tony Romo, Drew Brees, Tavares Jackson, Donovan McNabb, Jamarcus Russell, Brett Favre. These guys are quarterbacks. Those are the quarterback players. They throw the ball. The people they throw the ball to are the wide receivers. The wide receivers are like Terrell Owens, Randy Moss, um, Plaxico Burress. Trying to think of other wide receivers. Steve Smith, Marvin Harrison, um, Marcus Colston. Those guys are all wide receivers. They catch the ball when it's thrown to them. Wide receiver just means that they're out there receiving the ball, and so they're gonna get most of the catches in football. So these are the WR positions in your fantasy league. And then you have the tight end. The tight end is like another receiver. He's like a big receiver. He's usually a bigger, stronger guy um, that can block or act as another receiver for the team. He's also a guy that the quarterback will throw to. Tight ends include Antonio Gates, Jason Witten, Dallas Clark, Mercedes Lewis, Tony Gonzalez, Vernon Davis, and Ben Watson. The list goes on and on and on. So you're gonna have to pick one tight end usually on most fantasy football teams. So remember, a tight end is a big wide receiver, and you're only gonna have one of them on your fantasy team. And then you have the running back. Running back is the guy that runs the ball. He usually gets it handed off to him by the quarterback behind the offensive line, and he'll go and try to run the ball as far as he can. And let's see, running backs are like Emmett Smith was a running back. You've seen him on Dancing with the Stars. Um, Running backs that play now are Steven Jackson, LaDainian Tomlinson, Adrian Peterson, Marshawn Lynch, Joseph Adai, Frank Gore, Lawrence Maroney, Jamal Lewis. These guys are all running backs. So remember, running backs run the ball. They're usually not overly tall. The tallest you'll see is, well, there's one tall one, but usually it's about 6'2", and they're usually shorter. Actually, Maurice Jones-Drew is another of the running backs, and he's 5'8". So they're usually about 5'10", 5'11", 6 foot in there, and they run the ball. They also can catch the ball, but remember, they're going to be coming out of the backfield, which is behind the quarterback and the offensive line. The offensive line is what protects the quarterback and gives him time to throw, or protects the runner and gives him time to run. They're trying to create space against the defense so that the offense has time to run. So how it works is the football players are going to come on the field. They're going to have 4 downs to do what they do, and the offensive line is going to line up. The quarterback's going to be behind them, and the running back is going to be behind the quarterback. The wide receivers will line up across the field with the tight end, and they'll be near or on the same line as I think they're only allowed to be right behind the offensive line. So they'll be sort of parallel to the offensive line. And then what you next want to know is the kicker. And the kicker is the guy. There's a kicker and a punter. The punter is the guy that punts the ball away. The kicker is actually trying to score fantasy football points for you, or score real time points. And field goals are worth 3, both in real life and fantasy football. But in fantasy football, the longer field goals are rewarded with more points. So that's your offense, and that's all it is just, the guy that throws the ball, the guys that catch the ball, the guy that runs the ball. And you won't need to know offensive line for fantasy football, but I wanted you to know about it because it's an important part of fantasy football, because these guys are helping the other guys score the touchdowns and get yards. Now, you're probably going to need a defensive team as well on your fantasy football team. A defensive team is just the other side of the ball. There's the defense. They're all the players that comprise a team's defenses. For example, the Dallas Cowboys defense is the players that are not on their offense, and so on. So the defensive team is really easy to understand. It's just the team. It's this defensive aspect of one team. So I mean, Patriots, Chargers, Raiders, Vikings, Dolphins, and so on. All these teams have a defensive side, and you want to pick a better defense because your defense will get you points because they cause turnovers, fumbles, interceptions. They get and so on. And so that's how your defensive team is going to get you points. So those are the positions of fantasy football, and that's how you're going to look at them, and that's how you're going to know who's doing what and where you're picking who. That was a little bit jumbled, but it's giving you an idea of the positions and who functions by doing what. So just remember, the main positions are going to be quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end, kicker, and team defense. This is youfantasyfootball.com.